You know what they say about opinions, everybody's got one. But how often do people actually go against the masses and tell you what they really feel? Today, I'm going to be sharing my unpopular luxury opinions, and I'd love to hear what you think about them. Hey guys, it's Mandy. Welcome to my channel, Just One More Bag 01, where luxury meets lifestyle. If you are obsessed with designer handbags, love luxury items, enjoy traveling, or just want to get a glimpse of my Yorkie Winston, you are in the right place. Today, guys, I am so excited to be here with you today because I am hosting a collaboration with 5 of my YouTube friends to talk about our unpopular luxury opinions. Sometimes I feel like when I watch videos on YouTube or see things on Instagram, and not only in the handbag community, certain people just always feel that everything is great and wonderful no matter what. So I invited 5 of my friends to join me who I know have no problem sharing their honest thoughts on some popular luxury topics. But what's going to make this collaboration interesting is that I feel that some of us may have some opinions that greatly differ from each other. There may be some bags that I don't care for that some of my friends own, and they might tell you why they love them, and I'm going to tell you why I don't. So stick around and tell me what you think at the end. All right, guys, I would love to thank Liz from Nothing But Bags, Bram from That Bram, Diane from Luxury Handbag Edit, Melissa from The Right Handbag, and Cami from Cami's Closet for joining me today. If you have not yet checked out their videos, please take a moment to watch their answers and let all of us know what you think. And if you're not yet subscribed to their channel, please take a moment to check them out and join all of their growing communities of bag lovers as well. So the first question is, what is your most unpopular luxury opinion? And I actually have 2. I couldn't narrow it down to just one. The first one is that quiet luxury isn't more sophisticated than colorful bags. I feel that sometimes on YouTube, a lot of people do just have all neutral bags and they feel that color can't be classy. I personally love color. I love bold bags. I love designs. And I think that you absolutely can style them to be sophisticated and look lovely with your outfits and what you're wearing and make it your own. The other thing I feel is that first impressions are overrated. What I think really matters is hearing from someone after they've owned the bag for 6 months, more so than 6 minutes. And the reason I personally feel that way is I know that I have purchased a bag that I thought I loved, and I did love in that moment. But as I owned the bag and I was using it for a while, it no longer worked for me. So my initial first impression of the bag wasn't my ultimate feeling on the bag. So something to keep in mind. I think that first impressions are still important and can be beneficial, but I think as we are all trying to learn about bags specifically, it's probably nice to get opinions from people who have the bag new, fresh out of the box, and what they think, but also in addition from those who have owned the bag for different time points to see how they feel about it and if it still works for them. The next question, what is one bag everyone loves that you don't? And I also picked 2 answers here because it's sometimes hard for me to narrow it down. And I know this is going to be unpopular, but one bag I just don't care for is the Chanel 22 bag. For some reason, I don't know, it like reminds me of a sandwich bag or something. I just personally do not care for that style. I don't think that it looks good on me. And part of that, I think, for me is because I am shorter. I'm only 5'2". And I feel that this bag being a little longer, it makes me look shorter. So that's just a bag I personally would never purchase. Another bag that I know is widely popular that I just don't care for is the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis. I know some of my friends in this collaboration own the bag and love it, but for me, I'm just not drawn to it. It's the shape and the design, but it just doesn't do anything for me. I see it and I'm like, meh, it's okay. But I could never see myself owning one, even if it wasn't a beautiful, bright, bold color. It's just not for me. Do you own a Pochette Métis and do you love it? I'm curious to know why you love it if you do. The next question, one bag everybody hates that you love. For me, it's the Neverfull. I feel that the Louis Vuitton Neverfull gets so much hate, but for me personally, I do love the bag. Now, the way that I utilize the bag may matter though. For me, I like it as a work bag and just toting things back and forth. I like the shape of it. I like the MM size. Personally, that is the one that I use, and that works great. I can fit my laptop in it and everything that I need to lug back and forth. And I also appreciate that it can hold a lot of weight. I've heard a lot of people complain about it being heavy on their arm, but for me, it's not a bag that I am carrying around for hours on end. So for me, it works. I like the look. I like that Louis Vuitton does make it in some special edition bags. And for me, it just works. If you are someone that hates the Neverfull, please tell me why. I'm so curious to know. The next one is one bag I'd never buy no matter how much money I have. And a lot of you may know this answer partially. So for me, it is the Louis Vuitton Capucines bag. And the main reason I would never just outright purchase a Capucines bag is because that unfortunately, as soon as you buy that bag, it does drop in value by so much money. And I feel that it is absolutely better to purchase that bag on the secondhand market than buying it new from store. I also just don't really care for the shape. I do not think that it will fit my needs personally and fit all the things that I would want to carry around, and I just don't care for it. And I think it drives me nuts too, because anytime I go in Louis Vuitton, they're always trying to push the bag on me. So I think that just annoys me even more. But the other thing is, for me, I would never purchase an exotic bag from snakeskin. I hate snakes. I would never ever want a snakeskin bag. I'm not really drawn to exotics to begin with. If I ever did own an exotic bag, I think I'd go with lizard personally, but I just don't really know if it is ever for me. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about exotics. Which exotic skin do you like, if you do like it, and why? But for me, the last thing I want to do is touch a snake, pet a snake, have a snake, look at a snake, anything with a snake. So never, ever, ever snake skin bag. The next question, what handbag do you think is overhyped and won't age well? And I really don't want to give this answer because, you know, this is not meant to offend anybody either. The bag that I'm looking at right now that I think may be overhyped and not aging well is potentially the Chanel Crush bag that looks like it's been stepped on, that you can style it. Well, I can appreciate that bag for its artistic value and that it is something different. For me, I just would not want that bag. It's not something that I personally, I just don't want a bag that's basically looked like it's been stepped on. I want something that just looks like a normal crafted bag in a regular shape. However, again, I can appreciate it for what it is. That's my opinion. I just don't know how well that bag will hold up over time too for the price point. So for me, it's not on my wish list. The next question, what luxury brand has the best quality today? So when it comes to handbag quality today from just the luxury houses, I do think it's Hermès. I have not had any issues with my Hermès bags personally. And when I just think of all the luxury YouTube videos out there talking about quality issues, I rarely see anything on Hermès. Nothing truly sticks out. I know that I personally have had some issues with Louis Vuitton myself, and I've seen issues just with other brands in general, but it's rarely that I hear about Hermès. And the bags that I personally have purchased from Hermès, which are not quota bags, I feel are crafted very well, great leather, and that's my opinion. The next question is, what brand has disappointed you the most? For me personally, I think it was Louis Vuitton, and specifically with the Murakami launch in 2025, especially the Cherry Blossoms launch. I think that for the United States specifically, Louis Vuitton unfortunately did really underestimate the products that would be needed, and whether they did that by design or not, we'll never know. However, I do know that there were many people that were so excited about the bags and the relaunch of Murakami that just missed out completely. And while I do feel very fortunate I was able to get some bags from the collection, it's also making me really sad that there were so many people that were not even able to get one bag at all. And, that kind of sucks. If you have people who really want to buy your brand and get something from them and they can't, it's just disappointing. And I think that that was a big turnoff for a lot of people who possibly even had them shy away from the brand completely. So for me, I think that's the biggest disappointment. The next question is, what luxury advice do people give that I think is terrible? And I thought of two. The first one is that luxury bags are an investment. I completely disagree with that. I will say that while I personally have been in situations where I have made a little bit of money selling a bag from what I purchased it on, I wasn't making thousands of dollars. I'm talking maybe a couple hundred. And to me, I was ecstatic. If I didn't lose money on a bag, I think that's wonderful. However, that is not the norm. The norm is that the second you take the bag from the store, you're probably going to be losing money. You should not buy bags as an investment. You should buy them because you love them, they fit your life, and you want to use them and enjoy them. The next advice that I think is terrible is that everybody must have matching SLGs. I fell into that a little bit, and it wasn't because I got that advice from anyone. It was just something myself that I felt I needed. But what I've come to realize for me is that there are certain SLGs that I just absolutely love that I want to use all the time, and I kind of got over that. I would still prefer my SLGs match my bag, don't get me wrong, and I do still try to, but if they don't, I'm not losing sleep over it. I'm trying to just truly use what I love. The next question is, what is something luxury YouTubers don't talk about enough? And I really think that a lot of luxury YouTubers don't talk about what they return enough. And I think that sometimes they just don't tell you what they return at all. And I think the reason for that is that sometimes luxury YouTubers get a lot of flack for doing a return. But for me, I think it's important to share what we return. I know that I personally do, and why, because I think that that reasoning could help someone. If there is something that didn't work for you, I think it is good to point that out. Or if there was a quality issue with the bag and you're going to return it, why or why not? I think that could help other people decide. And one other thing is that you have to do returns sometimes because you can only get pieces from a collection potentially from pre-ordering, sight unseen, not even knowing what the bag looks like or trying on that style if it's something brand new. And the reality is that it just may not work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. It's your money and you can do whatever you want to with your money and your bag. So I hope that more YouTubers do open up and be a little bit more honest about what they return and why, because I think that is important information for others. The next question, what is the most overrated luxury brand? So in my opinion, there's a brand that a lot of people talk about and they really love. And for me, there's a couple bags or maybe some clothing that while I can appreciate some of it, there's nothing that I'm like, wow, or I'm really drawn to. And it's Louis Vuitton. I know I'm going to get some hate for that because I know so many people just absolutely love their puzzle bag. And I think the puzzle bag's cool. For me personally, there's nothing about it that wows me. And just even with the other bags, well, I was in Spain recently for work. I went in Louis Vuitton and I was really trying hard to find something that I liked, but there was just nothing I was drawn to. You know, for me, I love Louis Vuitton, and even if I try to think of why I love Louis Vuitton so much and the brand, it's not necessarily just one thing for me for Louis Vuitton. I just feel that their bag designs, for me, I'm the most drawn to out of all of the brands, honestly. There are truly bags that I do like or would love to have from most brands, but Louis Vuitton is just one that hasn't really resonated with me personally. Are you a Louis Vuitton fan? Let me know. So I did add in 3 bonus questions for everybody. I thought it'd be kind of nice for everyone to just learn a little bit more about each other. So the first question in the bonus is, what bag would be hardest to replace in your collection? So for me, it would definitely be my Steven Sprouse bag. And it's really for a couple reasons. It's an older bag, so they're not in as good of condition. I was fortunate and able to find one in a pretty good condition. And if I would lose this color, it's just not as easy to come by. So I feel that it would really be difficult to replace. There's also a sentimental value with this bag now because I was in New York with my husband and Diane, and we purchased it for my birthday. So I just have that memory of all of us being together, and it's just not something that can easily be replaced. Yes, I could, of course, get another bag, but it wouldn't be that bag and have those things tied to it. So that, I think, is the hardest bag to replace in my collection. The next question, which creator has influenced your collection the most? For me, I think it's probably Deb at Wild Unfiltered, because I don't know that I ever would have branched out and purchased some Hermès bags if it wasn't for her. And while I don't have any quota bags, I was always drawn to the non-quota bags. I absolutely love my Garden Party 30 and my Picotin 18. So Deb, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge, purchases, and information about Hermès, because I don't know that I really would have checked them out and tried to obtain a couple of bags from them if it wasn't for you. And I'm absolutely thrilled that I did and love my purchases. The last question is the best thing that's happened because of YouTube for each of us. So for me, I can say the absolute best thing from starting a YouTube channel was everyone that I've met, from the creators and the subscribers that I've talked to and become friends with. There's one subscriber who I talk to pretty much every single day. She knows who she is. We talk all about travel. We send pictures of bags we love, what we bought, and she's really become a good friend of mine. And so many YouTube creators, everyone in this collab with me, and so many others who I've met in person or just talked to often or have talked to a couple of times. I am just so grateful for everyone that I've come in contact with and become friends with because of YouTube. So thank you. So I would love to hear from everybody. What do you think about my unpopular luxury opinions? Is there anything you agreed with? Anything you disagree with? And I'd also love to know, what is a popular bag that everybody loves that you don't? And please leave that in the comments below and tell me why. Remember, we all have different opinions, and that's one thing that makes this space so great, is that we do all have different opinions. So we do just want to keep that in mind as we're sharing our thoughts on why. I would love to thank Liz, Bram, Diane, Melissa, and Cami, all for joining me today and doing this collaboration and sharing your thoughts. If you have not yet checked out their videos, again, please check them out and let us know what you think about everybody's opinions, and subscribe to their channels. They are all wonderful ladies who create great content that I personally love watching as well. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel and are new from one of theirs, thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to have you join our growing community of bag lovers. Well, guys, remember, no matter what, there's always room for just one more bag. I'll see you soon. Bye.